idea over here is to not look at any details. Over here also in this bottle, where did it go? Okay, just a second. Okay, here it is. So there is this Odomos written, there is this circle, and there is all these colors over here. These are called details. And in this piece of wood, there is a hole over here, line and stuff like this. These are the details. So now, whenever you want to make or whenever you want to draw something, you should not look at the details first. The first thing that you should look at is the entire proportion or the outside of this object. So for this piece of wood, the outside would be this part. Now we need to calculate this. We need to know what is the proportion of this piece of wood so that we are able to draw it over here. Now, how to find out the proportion is like all the artists in the world, or most of the artists, use this technique of keeping their pencil in their hand using the thumb in this manner, and then you stretch your hand. Because then this distance shouldn't change. It shouldn't be going closer and further. So right now it's a mobile phone, so I cannot show you my hand, but this is my ankle. And if I want to, let's say I will take this out. Let's say I want to find out the proportion of that window. So if I want to find out the proportion of this wood, I have to find out the entire height and the entire length of this wood first. Okay, so what I do is, like, this is my hand. Okay, so I keep it, just a second. So I keep my hand straight and I use the pencil and the thumb, and I keep my hand straight, and I can calculate something that I see very far away from me. So right now this piece of wood is very close to me, but let's say if I want to measure that window over there, or if I want to measure this tree, or if I want to measure some mountains which are very far away from me, so I would stretch my hand. This distance should not change in the process. So I will stretch my hand and I will use this thumb with the pencil. Okay. Now let's see how can we use this thumb and pencil method. So, okay, so now imagine as if I have stretched my hand and I'm looking at this piece of wood. So what I do is, this piece of wood has the height, the maximum height is this, and the maximum length is this. Not this one, but this one. All right. So what I do is, I take my hand and the thumb and I measure this, and I can do it from your angle. So if I'm looking at the piece of wood, this is the height. Now, whatever is less, you take that first into consideration. So over here, the height is less and the width or the length is more. So you take the height into consideration first and you mark this as 1. You can just say it 1. And then you compare it with the length of the wood. So if this is 1, I mark it with my first finger over here. This is 1. And then I go 1, 2, and 3. Approximately 3. Okay. So what happens over here is, I will do this again. So this is 1. And then I take the same unit over here and I go 1, 2, and 3. Approximately. We are only looking at approximate. We don't want to be very precise, or the accuracy is not that important as of the moment. It's just an approximate. We want to enjoy the process more. So yeah, you need to close one eye, and you can just look at this as 1 to 1, 2, 3. Let's say if it was this tube, and I want to find out the proportion of this tube. So this is the height and this is the entire length. What is less over here? Yeah, yeah. No worries. Yeah. The height is less. Yeah. So so we take the maximum height, which is here. All right. This is the max. This is a little bit less. The maximum is this. So this is the height, which is less. I take this as one, and then I take this one, two, three, and a little bit more. You see, there's just a little bit more. Okay. So this is how we will find out the proportion of anything that we see. Before we look at any details or anything else, before even I start to draw, I have to first find out the proportion of this object. So this piece of wood this is one, two, and three approximately. Okay, I just write this down over here on the side, 1:3. Okay, it's not that complicated, so don't worry. It's just I'm making it into numbers so that you understand. Yeah, but it's not necessary. We have to go through this way. So now I come back to my plain paper, and now see, as we spoke about control, it's very important to have control. Now I want to make this piece of wood somewhere over here. And I don't want it to go outside, or I don't want this piece of wood to come over here or here. I just want this piece of wood to come over here. Now, this one is what we will take over here. So I can decide wherever I want. This is at my will. Okay. I can decide it to be this much, or I can even take it more or less. So let's say, yes, yes, go ahead. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You will. This will answer your question now. So I take the calculation. The calculation of this piece of wood is 1 to 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's over here. Now this is the proportion of this piece of wood, and it will not change because this is how the proportion is. Now what I can do is I can change this number as I want. Okay, so for example, I take this one over here. Now this I can take it as big or as small, and according to this one, your piece of wood would be as big or as small. So let's look at how this works. So I take this one over here as per my will, and then either I can take the left or the right, and I can mark it over here. So now I don't want my let's say I'm marking this side of the wood over here, so I can exactly decide. Let's say if my frame is coming till here, so I decide my piece of wood to be till here. Okay, then what I do is I put this calculation over here, and I say this is one, and then this is one, two, three. So this is the box in which I will draw this piece of wood. Okay, so now let's say I want to make this piece of wood very small. Okay, like really small. So I take this one over here, and now I decide the left of this piece of wood to be over here. So now I will put the same calculation over here, and then I will take this as one. This is one, two, and three. So now, for example, yeah, this is just a rough figure. Okay. And now let's say I want to make it like really big. So I can take the one over here, such a big, and then I decide, let's say it to be over here. So then I take this as one. This is one, two, and three. So my piece of wood becomes such a big piece of wood. Yeah. So now if you see this piece of wood, this box and this box, they all have the same proportion. So this becomes our most important step in drawing or in painting. So if this is correct, if you follow this process, then everything that you do inside, which also has a technique, will not go wrong. This If you go from outside to inside, it's the best way of making a painting than to go from inside to outside. Let's say uh, let's say I go from inside to outside and I start making this eye over here. I make the eye over here, I make these lines over here, and then I reach the nose, which is over here, and then I realize that, oh no, my paper is it's going outside or it's going inside. Then I have to make everything smaller. Yeah. But let's say in this process of going from outside to inside, if you realize that, oh no, I don't want my piece of wood to be so small, I want it to be a little bit bigger. So all you have to do is just make your one. This is unit one. It's just a unit. It's not 1 centimeter or something. It's just a unit. So you just make the one a little bit bigger, and then you take this as one, two, and three. Then you can make. So you don't have to erase, or you don't have to make a lot of, there is no problem because you haven't even started to draw, and then you can exactly control the size of your object. So this is just the first step, okay? And this is the most important step into painting. Always what all the artists do, or art is something that we should enjoy, and it's okay that if we are not making like super nice drawings or paintings, it's okay, but it's more for us to enjoy. So what most of the artists do is they just take a quick judgment, like, okay, one, two, three, okay, yeah, quickly one, and then this is one, two, three, okay, roughly how could it be? There is a rough proportion of it. Now, if it depends on your behavior. If you're a person who is really accurate and you want to do things very accurately, then you can like really take it as one, two, three, like measure everything exactly, and you can get your results to be very perfect. And sometimes, let's say if you're traveling in the train, if you're just somewhere out and about, and if you want to make some quick drawing, so you can just be like very easy with it. You can just be like, okay, this is one, two, three, okay, quickly one, and then you mark this is one, two, three, okay, something like this. But both of you are following this technique of capturing your object, the proportion of the object first. That is the way to go. So if we follow this process, then our proportion in first place is correct. So our object one, two, and three. If you want to make the same piece of wood on a big wall, like somewhere on a big wall, so what you do is you just take this calculation and you put the one as like really big, and you decide the left or decide the right, and then accordingly you will make up this piece of wood as like really big. Okay. So far it's clear what we are doing over here? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So now we have this small box over here, and our piece of wood will be inside this box. Okay, so this was our first step. Okay, first step into drawing is finding out the proportion. Proportion. Okay, I don't know the spelling, but yeah, that's that's yeah. I'm really bad with certain other things than painting. So yeah, that's a bit of a challenge for me. But yeah. Okay. So now we have this box. Okay. So I'm taking out this piece of wood, and we're only looking at this box now. So my second step is to divide this space. It's a big space. Okay. My second step is to divide this big space, this big empty space, into two bigger spaces. Not equal, not exactly in the center, but two big spaces. All right. Now, when I keep this piece of wood over here, how can I divide this long piece of wood into two different spaces? I see this black spot over here. Okay. So if I'm looking at this black spot, I can see this to be one space and this to be another space. This is one big space and this is one big space. Now, now we are getting into details. Details, like these are all the details. So after finding out the entire space, I will divide this space into two bigger spaces. Let's find out where this spot is into this entire space. Okay. Again, the same thing and the same method. I again take my hand with my thumb and I see this distance and I see this distance. Whatever is less, I take that first on my pencil and I mark it. This pencil is a little bit smaller, so I take this one and I mark it over here. I mark it as 1. Okay, this is smaller. So 1, and this is 1 over here. 1 to 1 point, let's say 3, approximately. Yeah, approximately. So this is 1. Then we go 1 to 1.3. You can do your own calculation. This is the way I calculate, or it's not necessary to be very accurate over here. We're just making a rough judgment. Okay, this is 1 to 1.3 or 1.2, something like this. Okay, just to be very proportionate about it. So let's say it was 1 to 1.3. Okay, for example. Now I come back to this space and I will make a rough judgment. Okay, just a rough judgment. I don't know whether this is right or whether this is wrong. Now I will calculate this. This is 1. Okay, and I take it over here as 1. Here it comes 1. And then over here. So you see, maybe this is correct, or just it could be correct. See, this is 1. Okay, this is 1. Then I put it over here as 1, and 1.3 is what I need. Okay, so that seems to be approximately correct. Okay, let's say I give you one more example of it. Just a second. I normally don't use an eraser, but sometimes it's good to use an eraser. Just a minute. I don't even know where it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's say I will erase this. Okay, let's say I make now this is 1 to 1.3. Let's say I make it over here. Okay, approximate. Then I will check. This is 1. This is 1 over here. And this is 2. This is almost coming to 40. See, this is half and this is 40. But I need it like 1.3 approximately. So then I will erase this and I will put it back over here, which was correct. So this is 1. This is 1 over here. And 1.3, something like this. It's just a judgment. Okay. So my this spot is somewhere on this line. Okay, this is the line. This is a vertical line for me. Okay, now I want to find out horizontally, because there is a space on top and there is space down. I want to find out horizontally where it lies. Again, the same technique. I use this and I check. This is 1 and this is 1 and 1.2, for example. Okay, just see this, I'm making my own calculation, but you take your own calculation as per your comfort. This is 1 to 1.2, approximately 1.2. So I come back over here, I make a rough calculation over here. This is 1, and then this is 1 to 1.2 approximately, just a little bit more I get. So this is 1, over here, and a little bit more. So little bit more is good. Okay. So this plus sign, now I will erase all of this marking over here. So you see, Ayla, we still haven't started drawing. Yeah, we haven't started drawing. It's just I'm showing you the technique of capturing, or how do we even look at our object to for us to make it. So this plus sign is where this spot is. I just make it dark like this over here. Okay. All right. Now let's say from here to here. Okay, we have already this. From here to here. Let's say I want to find out where this spot is. Okay, this inside it, this part over here. Okay, from here we already have it, and this is also we already have over here. I want to find out where this is. So I take this again. This is smaller, so I take this as 1. Okay, sorry, this is okay, let me see it from your angle. Okay, so this I will take it as 1. You see my thumb over here. I will adjust it to keep it over here. This is 1, then this is 1, and 1 to 1, maybe 1 to 160. Okay, let's do this again. This is 1 for me. Okay, this is this part I want to find out. So this is 1 over here, then this is 1 to almost 2, just a little bit less than 2. I understand that it's a little bit difficult to see it, but when we have something more simpler, it's much more easier to find out. But if you understand the technique, we are on the right track. So if I calculate like this is 1, 1, and let's say 1.5. For example, I take it as 1.5. So I just simply make, it's a little bit down over here, so I simply make a marking over here, and then I check if it's 1.5 times on this side or no. So this is 1, this is 1, and this is 2. So I will make it a little bit bigger because I don't want it to, I want it to be 1.5. So this is 1, this is 1 over here, and this is 180. It's still not right. So I will make it over here. This is 1, this is 1 over here, and 1.5. See, something like this, something, I'm just making a rough judgment. Okay, so my line is over here. So what I'm doing is right now is this is my point that I marked over here. What I'm doing right now is I'm making, it's a combination of judgment as well as accuracy. So this is where we need to be at. We cannot, it's impossible to kind of judge where this is exactly only by looking. And it is also impossible to exactly calculate this if this was very far away from me, like a mountain or a tree. I cannot go and I can calculate. So that is the reason I will stretch my hand and I will start to make this kind of judgment. This is 1, 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 1, 2, 3, something like this. Okay, this is the technique. Now, there are certain things that we can judge. So let's say one more thing we will find out. Between this point to this point, there is a thing that goes inside over here. Okay, this point over here. It's somewhere over here. How do we find that out? So this distance is 1, this is 1, and this is 2. Okay, this becomes 1 because this is smaller. I will mark it with my thumb over here. This is 1, 1, and 2. Okay, approximately this is 1, this is 1, and 2. So I come back over here. I make a small marking over here. I'm not sure. I will check. This is 1, this is 1, and 2. Almost it's there. So this is how I will find out. Okay, no problem. So now do you see this? This is already we found out, yeah? This is here. Okay? And this ending bit is over here. This is the part. And between this and this is somewhere this point over here that the wood is going inside. This is the cut. I want to find out where is this cut, till where does it go inside. So what I do is I take this distance as 1, I take this as 1, and then I check this is 1, and this is 2. This is 2 times this part. This is 1, this is 1, and this is 2. So I come back over here, I mark my 1 approximately. Yeah, this is, yeah. I will tell you what I'm trying to do. So every time my unit 1 will remain as 1, because this was 1, and then I go 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And let's say, so my 1 will always remain constant. It will always be 1. So if I take this as 1, if I want to take, if I want to measure this distance to this distance, it cannot be 1, 2, 3. It cannot be like this. It has to be 1, then, and this 1 will be constant now. This is 1 and 2. So let's say if I wanted to measure this to the whole thing over here, so I can take this as 1, this is 1, 2, and a little bit more. So this is 1, this is 1, 2, and a little bit more. You see, this is a little bit more. So that means our calculation is correct. What we can do, is what we can do is we can take something that we want to find out and compare it with something that we already have. Like, for example, if you're making somebody's portrait, and if you already have the height of the nose, you can take the height of the nose and compare it with the eyes, or compare it with the nose, and check if it's the same size or if it's a little bit bigger or smaller. So if there is something that you already found out in this object, you can take something and compare it with something that you already have. You have the height already now. This is the height of the object, yeah? And you want to find out how much is this distance. So you take this as 1 in real life, you take this distance and compare it with the height. This is 1, 2, and a little bit more, so 2.5. Okay, then you make this rough marking over here, and you take this as 1, and then you take 1, 2, and 2.5. So that means this is correct. Now let's say I already have this point over here, this black spot, and I already have this line over here. I have these 2 points. This is going inside over here. So I take this as 1, and then I check 1 and 2. So I made a marking over here, and then I will take this as 1. I will check this is 1 and this is 2. So I double check my marking over here. I checked it with the height also, and I checked it with the width also. And it seems to be that this is a correct marking for me. So it's not necessary always that you have to compare it with a lot of other things. You can just compare it with one thing that you already have in your object already. So one more example I can give you. Do you see this plus sign over here? Okay, we found this out. We found out this distance, right? It's a correct distance for us. Yeah. Now I take this distance and I compare it over here, or I compare it to the one down with this distance. See, it's almost this distance down. This is what we already have. So I can take this and I can compare it with this distance, and it should be almost similar. Or if it's not, but just to give you an example, this I can compare it with the one down. It's somewhere over here. Or I can take this and compare it with something that I already have. If I take this and compare it over here, so the idea is, so let's not get confused with this one. The idea is I divide this big space into two bigger spaces, and then I divide this big space into smaller space, and then I will divide this space and this space into much smaller space and find out something over here. Or I divide this space and find out something, like we found out this over here. We can keep dividing it, and we have to go inside and inside. So the idea is to go from outside to bigger portions, to inside, and then we find out something very deep inside as a detail in this object. Okay. Now this is one, we will do some more examples so this process is clear for you. With this piece of wood it may be a little bit confusing, but we can do a little bit more exercise to find out if this technique works for you. Yeah, I understand. But if you understand this, then this is very simple for you, and this is even more simpler. So I want to give you the most difficult one first, and then this is like a piece of cake. So, let me try and draw this for you. Okay. Now, so far, we were making very accurate calculations with this object. Now, now I'm a bit. Now I leave myself a bit, and I see how I can make this piece of wood without being very accurate. I just want to make a little bit judgment. Okay, so I just keep this pencil over here, and I keep this brush over here to show you the square that we have. Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, so now. So why I'm keeping this is to show you the box that I have. You see I have a box over here. So just to show you the box that we have, I put this pencil and the brush. Okay, so now if you look at this angle, this angle if you see, and this is my paper over here. So what I do is, from here, this is again like this. Okay. Just somewhat like this. Yeah, I'm just making it a little bit simpler for you to understand. Okay. Now, if I wanted to draw this, so I see that this portion goes a little bit up over here and it goes inside. Okay. It goes inside. How much is it? It's not a problem. If I want, I can quickly check also. This is 1, 1, and 2 approximately. So this is 1, 1, and 2. A little bit below. This is 1, 1, and 2. Approximately over here. Okay. It goes inside, and then I see it goes outside, but it's not touching the line. There is a little bit gap over here. Do you see? There is just a little bit gap. So I don't touch the line over here. I just go up like this. Okay, this is approximate. I don't want to be very accurate over here. I just want you to know how can we sketch. So this portion goes a little bit inside like this, and then it goes out, and then it goes straight over here. Okay, then there is some. It's if I put another brush over here like this, so then I see it's going straight down. Yeah, straight down. You see till here. This point we already found out. You see, I'm I'm actually keeping myself aware of where my things are. So this is the point which I already noted. It comes over here. So what I need to remember is it's a little bit above. It's a little bit above over here. So over here, something like this. And then it goes down. It touches the line over here. And then it's just straight. Okay. Now, if I just quickly put my scale over here, this is the spot I already have. This block is just a little bit above or just above this part. So if I make a straight line over here, this piece is something like this above. And then it goes inside. This is over here and goes like this. Okay. Now, okay. So, okay. So this is a very rough, it's a very rough drawing of this piece of wood. But there is one thing which is common with this piece of wood and this is that they both are in proportion. Even this dot is approximately where this thing is. This is approximately where this is. Everything is just similar to this piece of wood. So uh, right now, I'm making it very simple for you. when I'm drawing now, if I sit somewhere and start to draw, I will I will use the exact same construct or the same technique to draw. But because I've been drawing for some years now, my judgment is a little bit kind of I'm used to making this judgment a little bit more. And the second thing is there is something called as the muscle memory. Like it's in your hand, or it's something like if you play the guitar, you play the chords. So it's this muscle memory that you need. So if you were making a circle, or if you're making some lines, or if you're making straight lines, this is your muscle memory, which you developed after some time, after maybe like a month or some weeks of practicing, you will develop this. So this becomes my basic structure, or my first foundation for this piece of wood. If you check the internet for some very great artist making portraits or making paintings, their first construct will be something like this. It will be as abstract, it will be as rough as this. Now if I want to make a I'm sorry. Sorry, what did you say? Ayla? What did you say? Hello? 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 Ayla? Can you hear me? Uh, mhm. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you very well now. Yeah. There may be times where the internet goes a little bit, but yeah, it will get back. I think it's yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I wanted to say was this is the kind of a basic construct of this piece of wood. And how we arrived over here is by using this technique and making some points that we found out with this technique. So it's just not a pure judgment, but it's a combination of accurately measuring this piece of wood and some kind of a judgment. Like all of these lines were judgment for me, but I found out certain things very accurately in this drawing. Okay, so this this becomes our drawing. Now, if I work for the next half an hour on this painting, let's say I make this line over here, this line goes a little bit up. This is all my judgment now. But this judgment has a solid foundation of my calculation. So I can make this, and then there is some markings over here. There is one over here. This spot is just over here, and then there is this line goes down. There is something like this over here, some cracks over here, some cracks over here, and then I can continue with this kind of a. So this becomes my drawing for me. This is the drawing of this piece of wood. Let's say I wanted to draw this Swiss knife. Okay, I will use the same technique to draw the Swiss knife. Okay, I want you to help me now. Let's say we go back to the first step. What is the first thing that I would look at if I want to draw this draw this Swiss knife? For example, this. What do I need to consider first? First thing is the proportion. So what I do is it has the height and it has the length. What is less? Hello. Yeah, I think it's the internet connection, which is a bit weird. Okay, so this has the height and this has the length. What should I consider first in this? What is less in this? Ayla, can you hear me? Yes. So, okay, perfect. Now I will take the height into consideration. I will take, yes, wonderful. Okay, so this is 1, and then I take this as 1, 2. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the internet connection. But I can hear you well. Can you hear me? Yeah, yeah, it is a little bit of a delay. But I hope it gets better soon because the area that I'm in, it has very good connection, but sometimes it goes off and on. It's a bit sometimes it's a bit like reluctant. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's say this is 1, 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I understand there is a big delay. Yeah. I'm looking at my internet connection. It says it's okay enough, but yeah, I cannot be even 100% sure if. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. I will. Yeah, let's try. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello. Yeah. It's a bit of a delay. That's a bit of a challenge, yeah. The internet connection is a bit of a challenge. Okay, should I call you back on this number? Just give me a minute, I will call you back. Is it okay? Okay, just give me a minute, yeah? I will call you back. Thank you.